Hey guys, what's going on? It's Rekt Capital and welcome back to the channel. Thanks so much for joining me in today's video about the Pi Cycle Top Indicator and Bitcoin's price action and how we should understand Bitcoin's current uptrend through the lens of this very important indicator which actually timed the 65,000 top, local top, might I add. Subscribe to the channel for more videos like this in the future and let's dive right into it. So there are two moving averages that are really important in constructing this overall Pi Cycle Top indicator. The orange one is the faster moving average because it only takes into account the previous 111 days of price action on the daily time frame. Whereas the green time frame, the green moving average, takes into account the 350 days times 2. So this moving average is definitely the slower one. This one's the faster one. And the thing about these moving averages is that they do tend to cross over, and when they do cross over, they precede bear market or at least bull market tops. And could we say that this was a crossover? There definitely was an alignment of these moving averages, perhaps even a crossover here. In any case, that was a very good indication of a local top for Bitcoin. But the thing about the Pi Cycle Top indicator is that it tends to precede tops, but sometimes those tops are local tops, like in this case, in my opinion, and in the case of the mid-cycle correction in 2013. But we also tend to see market cycle tops get outlined by the Pi Cycle Top crossing of these crucial MAs. So really interesting to see that there are two different tops that we can have delineated by this indicator. And of course, I do believe that we are in a mid-cycle correction, just like in 2013. So you can see where in 2013, for instance, we got that crossover right over here, peaked and crashed significantly. But then you can see the MA here really starting to change and cross back below the green one and then cross back above it to delineate a second market cycle top. So first it outlined a local top and then a market cycle top. And that's something that I believe might happen in this cycle, with this being the local top and the market cycle top occurring later down the line. So really important to know that these crossovers aren't definitive. They are good predictions of topping out structures in Bitcoin's price action. But at the same time, if you look at this MA right over here, the 111-day MA, is it fair to say that this is slightly, the slope is changing in this downtrending of this MA? Is it fair to say that it was quite sharp, and ever since we've had a reaction so positive from Bitcoin's price action, is that downtrending in the MA going at the same pace as it was before? Because remember, this takes into account the previous 111 days. So this moving average, even though it's the fast one compared to this green one, it's not actually going to change very considerably. So if we're seeing such fantastic price action from Bitcoin, you can still see that the sloping isn't as sharp to the downside as it once was. There is a very slight change. And that change is going to be accentuated as long as Bitcoin continues towards the upside. And this MA is going to slowly but surely probably flick up in the same way that we saw something like here in the mid-cycle correction. But in any case, I want to give you guys an idea as to how to understand these two moving averages and how they can be used for confirmation in this Bitcoin uptrend. So first of all, the most important thing to note is that this orange MA tends to figure as a resistance in new bear markets. But of course, this MA figures as a failed support in new bear markets. So for instance, in here, we broke back above this MA and then failed to turn it back into a support. So we saw further downside, and you can see resistance here, rejection from that MA, but turning it back into a support has been very good for the uptrend for Bitcoin, as that MA has effectively supported this uptrend for a very long time until you see this MA turn back into resistance again, failed support, resistance, and continued resistance overall. So really important to know that this orange MA is really vital for the uptrend. And you can see here that this MA right now is at around $40,000. So it's really positive that Bitcoin was able to break past what should have been a resistance at this MA. But now that we've broken past it, if we get a dip into this 40K region, it will successfully, or at least it will try to retest this MA as a support. And if we get that sort of dip, really important that that support is held there. And if it does, then that is full confirmation that this MA is now going to be supporting this new uptrend going forward. The other thing to note, and that's a scenario to the downside, should we get that sort of scenario, support testing this pi cycle MA right over here has yielded great things in the past for Bitcoin uptrends. So that's one MA when we consider this MA for the downside scenario. But for the upside scenario, it's important to note that in the past, this green MA has figured as a resistance for Bitcoin uptrends. And have these resistances figured as a bear market indicator? You can see that right over here, we rejected from this green resistance to new lows. And right over here, you can see that rejection from here actually caused bull market corrections. And over here as well, bull market corrections. So this green level tends to provide some rejection, but that doesn't necessarily mean those rejections are going to cause bear markets, because they can also cause bull market corrections. So one of the things to watch out for in terms of this potential moving average resistance later down the line at 70K, if Bitcoin over time breaks these highs over here of 65K, there is some possibility that we could see a rejection from this MA, just looking back on previous price history through the lens of this pi cycle top indicator. But of course, you can see here, for instance, that we shot right through it, this MA, in the past. We shot right through it here as well, after the mid-cycle correction, right over here. So though it was initially figuring as a resistance, it shot right through it in the end after that mid-cycle correction. And you can see that even though we got that rejection from that MA here, we were able to break back above it and actually test it into a support later down the line. So here's another instance where we break back above that MA. So that green MA could be a resistance in the short term. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some rejection there. But overall, once we do breach 65K, we're going to enter price discovery. And after some short-term rejection, if at all any, Bitcoin will be able to rally into those new all-time highs. So these two MAs, the 111-day MA and this MA, which is 350 times 2, these two MAs that are the pi cycle top indicators, the pi cycle top moving averages, they are going to give us a great framework for understanding where Bitcoin's price could potentially go. What would it mean should we revisit this region? That would be a support test. A successful support test would confirm further continuation in this uptrend, and a rejection here would probably be a short-term rejection, but also breaking back above it would be fantastic confirmation for further price discovery and overextension towards the upside. In any case, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to the channel for more videos like this in the future, and of course, like the video if you enjoyed this one. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I'm Rekt Capital, and I'll speak to you in the next one. Speak to you soon.